222. Hi. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening or watching from. My name is JP. This is Tuesday Tunes with JP, and this is a slightly different Tuesday Tunes with JP because we've got a special guest, and it's a special guest in form of a machine, not a person. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. Hi, Piers, how are we doing? Just before we get going, a couple of things. This is the multi chat just here. So basically, if you are on Facebook, YouTube, or even on Twitch, and you make a message or you say hello, it's going to come up here, and you guys can chat no matter where you're watching the stream from. So hopefully, this could be a little bit helpful to you. The special guest I'm talking about. Tuesday Tunes with a new that's absolutely right. So if you've seen the title, this is episode 505 Mark II. And that's because what we have right here is the 505 Mark II. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at what it's capable of, what it's doing. This camera is running a little bit behind. So apologies about that. It's running a little bit behind. I'm going to make sure it catches up. So give me 1 sec on that. Now it's going to take a second just to reboot, but just a couple of things we're going to do before we get going on this. First of all, there is a new episode of the podcast. So if you are interested in the podcast, that's the John Paul Music UK podcast, and there's a new episode on there about how to choose which looper you want. So. Thank you very much. So this actually is coming directly through from Restream, and we're going to have a look at that just obviously in a second. But I'm not using any software. I'm not using any hardware to do this live stream. This is all being done by Restream Studio, and we use Restream to restream to multiple places around the world. So David, good afternoon. I hope you're all right. I hope you guys can hear me. I hope it's loud enough. I'm using this microphone, of course, as opposed to the other one, so it's a little bit different. And this, as I say, is the multi-chat. So no matter whether you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Twitch, you can actually put a message on there. We're also streaming to LinkedIn and Twitter as well. So 5 different places at the same time. Steve, good afternoon. David, good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. So if you've noticed, as I said, from the live stream, excuse me, this is called episode 505 Mark II. And we have the 5.5 Mark II just here. So we're going to actually drill into it and show you it and show you how it's working. Let's say the camera is a little bit behind, so apologies about that, but I'm going to show you this. Now, the reason why I've got this, first of all, I just want to say a couple of things. Boss have very, very, very generously sent me this. So they're not paying for any videos or any reviews. They have sent this to me to say, obviously, check it out. And I'm very, very, very grateful. So thank you, boss, for that. But also because of all the great work we've been doing with the RC600. And then I said, well, I want to see the 505 and see what the difference is. And lo and behold, the 505 arrived at my door yesterday. So I'm very, very happy with that, of course. And the other thing as well is I have never, ever used a tabletop looper. I've used an iPad, I've used an app. So in that way, I've kind of used it in that respect, but I've never used a hardware tabletop looper. I've never had the 505 Mark I, I never had the 202, I've never had any other tabletop looper. So the 505 Mark II, of course, is slightly different and a little bit of a journey for me. So I am playing with my phone, which is just here because I just realized that I need to change the Wi-Fi that it's on because it's currently sitting on my Wi-Fi. It needs to be on like 5G because that would be better for it to stream what we need to see. So hopefully it's going to look a little bit better when I move it over. So the other thing as well, as just said before, basically, I have a podcast, and that podcast is the John Paul Music UK podcast. If you just put John Paul Music UK into any podcast thing, you should find it, whether it's Apple or Spotify or Google Podcasts, or even my own website on johnpaulmusic.co.uk. And The reason why we're having a look at this is because this one is, as I say, a bit of an anomaly to me. I've never used one of these before. And I got it yesterday, so I'm really new to it. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to go over a couple of different reasons why you might choose this over, say, a floor-based looper. Now, today I've only plugged in the microphone. I've not actually got anything else kind of like plugged in at the moment. And I've got my condenser microphone plugged in, and it is on phantom power at the moment. So it might sound a little bit different. Um, excuse me, I'm talking a lot today, aren't I? So yeah, so basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of different things. Now, first of all, first things out of the box, this is a 505, not a 606. So it's basically 5 tracks, and the 5 tracks, obviously, you've got right at your hands. You don't have to change modes with the 606. You've got 3 and then 3 on the second mode. You can obviously change that on the button so all 6 are in front of you. I've done a video on that about customization. I've done a video about single mode and just putting them all on the same level, which you can do if you want to. The other thing, of course, which is the dead giveaway because you're using your hands, is we've got faders. So the faders, I know that sounds really obvious, but having that sort of granular control over your loops is obviously very, very different than doing it with a floor pedal. Now, there's other things you can do with the 600 and with the 505 and the 500. You can now connect them all via MIDI, and I know I've seen a couple of people now using things like the Korg Nano Control with a 600. Just plug that in and then tell the MIDI basically that that is the volume for track 1 to 6 and panning, and that's a very clever idea of having the differences between them. But obviously, they've got the same brain inside, but they do work differently. And one of the other things that obviously is really, really different as well is these two things. So these two dials, these massive dials, that is your output. So if I turn that up now, you'll probably hear that's really loud. So let's turn that back down. That is your dial there for master volume out. And these two are actually dials for the input and track effects. And this is something you just don't have on a 600. Now, the equivalent of that on an RC300 is the expression pedal. So you could actually assign the expression pedal to the effects if you wanted to and use that. And this is basically to change things. So I've set up four for track input effects and track effects already. And that's the other thing as well. On the RC600, you've got four. You have got four, but on the printed on the tin, as I call it, it's actually got three. So you've actually got A, B, C, and A, B, C. You've got 1, 2, 3, and A, B, C, and you can get to the D by just changing it, and that's fine. Oh, this. I've kicked off a massive chat already. Let's have a look at what's going on. So what's happening here, guys? What's going on? So first advantage of the 505, more buttons. Yes, because we can use our hands. Nano control is annoying how Nano control is annoying how to connect it. I use 606 and the connections are loose, 5 pinned in to headphone and then USB to USB and then okay. Yeah. So obviously then you've got to find a way to sort of plug it in and then control it that way. Is obviously the USB, of course, is USB B on the output of those the 505 and 606. So I'm taking a Hulk drink. It's just orange. Nothing more stronger than that. There's no gamma radiation in there. Nerd. So yeah, so of course you've then got to look at way of like if the 606, what am I talking about? The 600 can power the nano control. It depends on which one you've got, whether it can supply power and MIDI at the same time. But then you've got a really weird connection going into USB B. I really wish now moving forward that everything out just goes USB C. That there's not different connections on different things. I've got an Akai APC 40 Mark II, and that's USB B. But then the RC600 is USB B. So I need a USB B to B cable, right? So I've got to get a specific cable if I want them to talk to each other. And then, as you quite rightly said, David, I've got to power it as well. So if you're at USB C, you could deliver power and also the data transfer as well. It'd be much, much easier. Trying to get the oxygen working on instead. I saw someone using their 505 Mark I as a MIDI controller for their Mark II on one of the Swissbeat streams, which was pleasant. Please pleasingly meta. That's why I'm trying to get the oxygen working. Yeah. So the other thing as well is with this box, the 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 biggest place you'll see this box is places like Swiss Beats and people who are like beatboxers, tabletop beatboxers. There's a championship, and that championship is fabulous. If you've never seen it, I watch them all the time. I'm a bit obsessed with looping, as you might have guessed. What they can do with these kind of things is incredible. Now, one thing I've really noticed, taking note of those kind of shows and stuff, taking note of their performances, is they really do depend on what they're doing with their input effects and the track effects. And they actually use all four banks of the track effects to change the way the sound is. I think with guitarists, with like, if you do, excuse me for saying, but like the Ed Sheeran style of looping, or the Katie Tunstall style of looping, or that kind of, or the way I do it, or the way a lot of like guitar musicians do it, then you put your loop down and then you sing over the top of it, and that's it. One thing I've really noticed, and I want to take like advice or tools from, is the beatboxers. And what they do is they actually start off with a loop on the looper, but then they start using the track effects to change what that loop does. And that's really cool. And where I believe that I'm really behind the times on that kind of element of it. So I'm going to show off a couple of things today, and I'm going to actually kind of create a couple of things. The other thing as well, of course, is that because when I'm looping with my RC600, I'm using a stage microphone. This is a condenser microphone, so this sounds really nice when you go in really quietly and sounds like some kind of voiceover work. So obviously it's knowing the gear inside and out, and I do not know this inside and out. I have literally had this yesterday, and also the Mark One, of course, has been around for years. So it's knowing where things are, and this is a natural upgrade from the Mark One. The RC600 is not a natural upgrade from the 300. It is a different beast completely. So I think with obviously the migration over to doing a couple of different things, it's got the same brain though. So it's got basically the 32 bit floating. It's got all the same track effects, input effects. So I'm just going to obviously throw a couple of things down. I want to show you how this works if you've never really seen one before. I've never really had a tabletop looper on my channel before, and I do want to experiment with it. So I was messing around with it yesterday, and I did a little sort of like track of is it Lord or Lordy? Royals. And within I think about 30 minutes, I got a copyright thing on it because they figured out it was that track. But I just wanted to show off, obviously, what it can do, like very basic. It's not really showcasing it. If you want to see someone really showcasing it, I'm showing it off. But if you want to really see the showcasing it, go and have a look at the Swizz Beats channel. I really would recommend it. I know it's weird for a YouTuber to say "stay with me forever," but I'm not like that. I think that basically you should learn from other people. So go and have a look at the Swizz Beats. Even if you're not into beatboxing, have a look at one of the UK entries, one of the UK beatboxers called Frosty. He actually creates some really melodic stuff. And when it was in the lockdown last year, he actually won that, I believe, and he became second. Sorry, in 2020, and he came second in 2021 when it went back to live. So it's amazing. It's amazing what it can do. 505 is a proper control surface, not as robust as the 600, but it's not expecting you to stomp on it. That's absolutely right. Although I do know someone who used to use this with their bare feet. And even use the controls with their bare feet. I will not be doing that. The other thing as well is, yes, it's made of plastic. If you can hear that, it is not metal. Obviously, the 600, the 505, they're a metal chassis. They're built like a tank. The connections here at the back, they're plastic as well. I would have actually liked to see the connections be metal on the outside, so you don't kind of pull the plastic or anything like that. That's the only worry I would have with that. And then the other thing as well is that the robustness of it, as I said, basically because it's plastic as well. You're right. You're not going to stomp on it, but also at the same time, you're going to use it in a different way. Now, the other thing with this is not stomping on it, but actually using a stomp pedal with it. It still has, I don't know if you can just see there, just there, it has control stroke expression. So you could plug in an FS6, FS7 pedal, FS5 pedal, or an expression pedal and program that up to actually start a loop. potentially, by using one of the assigns, because it's the same kind of assign system that you have on the 600. So if you wanted to use this while you're playing guitar and you wanted to use your foot to actually, apparently that's a foot. I don't know why I just did that. That's a foot. I don't know if you can see me doing that. Then you can obviously do that. So yes, the creativity, obviously, from there you go. The Piers just said it. The creativity on display from the first competition with the Mark II was mind-boggling. And the funny thing is, Piers, as well, if you drill into it, they only had they were given. It's all out in the loop now. They all said it basically. The loop, pun intended. They all said that they were given the 505 Mark II before its general release, so they were literally running on version 1 of the software, and they did run into some problems. They ran into some feedback problems when they were filming and things like that, but it's all kind of settled down now because it has the same kind of firmware that the 600 has. So when version 1.1 came out for the 600, version 1.1 came out for the 505 Mark II. Anyway, let me go through a couple of things, and I'm just going to show you what I've figured out. And there's one or two things I didn't realize as well. But let's go over to this view. When your heart is full of love, when your heart is full of love, yeah, yeah. When your heart is full of love, when your heart is full of love, yeah, yeah. When your heart is full of love, when your heart is full of love, yeah, yeah. When your heart is full of love, when your heart is full of love, yeah, yeah. When your heart is full of this love, yes. When your heart is full of love. When your heart is full of love, when your heart is full of love, yeah, 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 yeah. So there we go. So basically, I've just got a couple of different things set up. Just putting a quick beat down, and yes, just obviously going to show you a couple of different things and things I wasn't aware of with this. I have changed one or two things as well. So there we go. Just before we get going, I just want to obviously announce a simple thing. I run a podcast, and the podcast is a lot of interviews or my thoughts, which is the John Paul Music UK podcast. I'm just shouting it out. Want people to listen to it, whether it's on Spotify Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or even my website, which is johnpaulmusic.co.uk. Now, there is one about choosing a looper. That's the new episode that I've just brought out. And there's going to be more interview, by the way. People are asking about, I've got a series called How Do You Loop? There's more interviews that I've already recorded. I'm in the middle of editing them at the moment. They are on the way. I've got two fantastic loop artists that are coming. So I'll let you know, obviously. Well, I'll just drop it and then that's it. If you want to see the interviews early, by the way, then what you can do is you can become on YouTube, you can become a member. So just probably under here, I can't actually see it, but just under here somewhere, there's an option to obviously subscribe, but you can also become a member. If you become a member, what I do is as soon as I drop the videos on YouTube, like as in I upload them, they're available to members straight away, and I schedule it probably for the Friday of that Friday. So if you want to see it early, maybe even Friday afterwards. So if you want to see it early, then obviously please become a member. Like this channel, like everything, subscribe to everything, give it a big thanks because there's a new heart thing with a thanks button that basically supports the channel and everything else. Right, that's all the stuff done. I'm going to go back to what I was doing. Right, so anyway, this is Tuesday Tunes with JP. Thank you very much for joining me, and this is basically episode 505 Mark II, the 505, and you're absolutely right, I have just knocked my phone whilst talking to you, so I'm just going to move it slightly. There we go. So yeah, it's a little bit delayed, so apologies about that. I hope this is okay. So what can we learn from the 505? Well, first of all, as I said to you before, you've got 5 different loops. And the other thing as well, I'm not going to save the loops that I've done here today. So if you like what you heard, then you're going to have to just watch it on the replay. But I just put down this. Now there's a boom, right? I just did all this live, all out of my brain right now. This was not pre-thought. I just thought I'd just put down a little ditty. And you'll may have heard as well that I started with this sound. And what you can do, of course, is with this dial here that I've got just out of shot. I need to change the camera angle. Hang on. Hang on. Let's do this properly, shall we? Come on. Come on, JP, get with it. There's the computer. By the way, that's what I can see when I'm live streaming. See all you guys there. So let's put it a little bit like. Should I put it like that? Okay. Yeah, that'll do. So yeah. So what you can do is let me move it that way. There we go. I'm sure I had it like a better angle than that. Anyway, doesn't matter. What was JP's stream like? Oh, he was just like obsessed with the angle of one camera like all day for like 2 hours. There we go. That's better. Right. Okay. So yes, up here we've got 4 input effects. Now, of course, you can get to input effects on an RC600, and that's what I'm always going to be referring to, by the way, because that's what I'm used to. So I'm going to always be referring to the difference between the 600 and this. I've got this effect, which is the I think it's the LFO. Let's have a quick look. The LPF. And that's another thing as well, which is that you can very, very quickly get to the settings very quickly by holding down this button, which is the bank. But if you just go edit that one, this is now changed straight away on the system. Sorry, this is now changed straight away on the system, so I can get to it straight away. So things like the beatboxes and stuff, they're just so used to basically going into the menu and into the system and changing it real quick. So I've got this one, and of course, right now, if I turn it over to here, it's like there's no low pass filter, and as I go down like this, I can change it over. Wow. So I don't have to sort of do that with my mouth. I can go wow 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 wow, and you can kind of like manipulate it. But if you went wow wow, and you can have some real fun with it. Same with obviously the next one, which is bass. I thought I'd put bass on B for bass. That kind of makes sense to me. So that's my normal voice all the way this way, all the way to that way, as it were. Let me do that all the way that way, turning it kind of anti-clockwise. Then my voice, and as you can hear, it starts coming in right now. It's about 50-50, and we can go all the way to 100%. Start sounding like Venom. And then you've got another one here, which this was a octave up. Let's have a quick look at it. It's the auto harmony, but all I've done is I've just put it an octave up and I've changed the formant slightly. So and just have a little bit of a lighter voice. And then the last one here is a really big reverb. So what I did with the track, you can hear there that I just basically did that. I just did a boom. I'll do it again. Boom, boom, boom. And then what we did was we turned on A. There we go. And then that's kind of the beat, and that's it. And so by having these like sort of like different parts, it's really, really useful. The next one. So that was not just the bass, it was also having this as well. So this is just the bass. And this is the bass with the harmony octave up. I'll just flip between the two so you can hear the difference. Bass. Just gives it a little bit more. So then it does sound like two voices, which is great. Cool, David. Yes, two FS7 pedals. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. It says control expression here, but there's actually two inputs at the back there, so you can put two FS7s if you wanted to. So that's 4 controllers. You could have 4 controllers there to control it by your feet. The next one wasn't the next one. I didn't do that next, did I? I did this one. When your heart is full of love, and that's just me singing. And then that is using this lovely reverb. Obviously not all the way. So the other thing as well, let's turn it off. The other thing as well, the start-stop is here. That's your start-stop right there. That's undo, redo. Start-stop, undo, redo. And this is one of the first things that I really noticed on the 505. I nearly said 600 then. It's because I've been saying 600 for like 6 months. The 505 is that if you were to hold down the stop button, that would undo it on a 600, right? So you got the play, you got the stop. If you hold down, it will undo it or it'll clear. Sorry, no, if you hold down the play record, sorry. Let's start that again, shall we? We're live. Mistakes happen. If you hold down the first button you mispressed. Yes, I did. Did you notice that I deleted the first loop? Okay, cool, good. I did that. I'll get onto that in a minute. But on the 600, let's revert back to the 600. If you hold down the play record, it will take away the last loop. It'll undo, basically. And if you hold it down again, it'll redo. That does not happen on this. It does not happen. You don't hold it down. Maybe there's a way to do it, and I don't know yet because I've literally had this since yesterday. But it doesn't do that, as far as I'm aware. You have to turn that on, which is undo, redo, and now they're all flashing, and then you just tap the one you want to undo. Now that could potentially be quicker because you just go bang, bang, like that really, really quickly, like douche, 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 douche. But if you hold that down, it just goes into record mode, and if I hold it down, it just goes into play mode, and that's it. Now I have set this up to go from record to overdub. So I've changed that in this, and I've changed it on the 600. That's what I prefer. If you hold down the stop button, there's a dedicated stop button. You may see it there. You may see the little white writing. It says clear is hold, but I've actually also set it up to double tap it. So if you just double tap it, it will literally like bang, bang. It will just literally clear it straight away. Now, the other thing as well is, as you quite clearly noticed, I did that by accident. Yeah, you can just go 1, 2, and then there you go. See the way it's gone? Gone, 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 gone. That song will never come back. So you can literally just do it where you just double tap them all and that's it. It's gone. And yeah, it's slightly different. So if I was to just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, you can see there it went into overdub mode. So it went into yellow. I've just turned it off there. Tap again. We're now in overdub. 3, 4, 1. We're now in overdub. 3, 4, 1. We're now in overdub. I'll turn that down a bit. So, and that's the other thing. I can just turn that loop down as opposed to turning the whole volume down. So I do like that. I do like that a lot. So we'll just stop that and just double tap it to erase it. So if I was to try and undo this, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put something over the top and then try and hold this down by undoing it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. 4, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. So I'm going to try and take away that oh yeah. Oh yeah. 4, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. 4, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. 4, 1, 2. Nothing. It doesn't do anything. So I'm really, really confused about that, like muscle memory wise, because my brain's going, "I'll just hold down play, 3, oh yeah," and it'll just get rid of it. You can't. What you got to do is maybe there is a way, and I don't know. So if someone knows of a way, please tell me that I can just hold that down for 2 seconds and then it'll undo and redo. But what you've got to do is you've got to turn undo redo on. Now it flashes. If I tap it and then take that off, 1, 2, 3, oh yeah, 4, 1, 2, undo, 3, oh yeah, 4, 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. 4, 1, 2. There we go. 3, 4. Gone. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's not recording 1, right now. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So what I'm going to do now is undo that one, and it's taken away the hi-hat. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. How do you redo? 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. I don't know. 2, 3. How do I redo? 1, 2, 3. How do I redo? 1. So I've got to figure that out, and that's the other thing as well. As I said, I've had this since yesterday. So if anyone knows, please put it in the chat just here. What? Oh, that's how you do it. Okay, that makes sense. We're learning live on 5 different sites. Oh, that's so right. Okay, I'm with it now. I've got it now. So basically, if I were to go undo, redo, we've now got undo and redo here. So undo is the stop button, redo is the play button. But if I double tap the undo, it will erase the last undo. That makes sense. So that's cool. That clears it. That's really, really good. Okay, cool. So that is one of the major differences. Of course, you're using your hands and there's different buttons configurations. So the other thing as well is that we've also got these 2 other buttons that we just don't have on a 600, which is track and effects. So track and effects is here, and you can see there we've got track and effects. And nothing lights up on track because I haven't got anything. But if I just tap track, we go straight into track 1. What do you want to do with it? You can go very quickly into this and go turn that into a one shot. And that's it. I don't have to do anything. It'll just stop, and then I can bring it back. I can go into reverse. And if I just keep tapping track, let me just go stop that. If I just keep tapping track, we go into the next page and just keep tapping, and it just rolls round the menu system just by tapping track. So you can get to stuff really, really quickly, which I'm a little bit jealous of from compared to the 600. So yeah, by just tapping that, you can get to it real quick. The other thing you can do as well is if you just tap effects and turn effects off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Why do you have an effects button on and off? That's the other question I've got, and I've got to read the manual to figure that out because I've just recorded the effects. Oh, unless it's the track effects, like it doesn't get affected by track effects. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's it. It's track effects. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll turn all these different effects on, all 4 of them, in fact, and it's doing nothing. As soon as I turn this on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That's cool. Good morning, Angus. So this is cool. So what we can do is we can actually set up the track effects and turn a couple on at the same time, leave that switched off, and when you're about to hit it or you're about to drop the thing, you can just go, and we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Right. So then you've got that going, 1, 2, 3, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's really cool. So it's just different. It's just different than the 600. There's basically just things you can do with your fingers. So it's really, really cool in that respect. Let's go over to the chat. Let's have a look what's going on. Hey, Rafa, how we doing? Just dropping by for a bit, working here. Big hugs, big hugs. Glad we were able to sort stuff out for you. Piers, yay! I've really enjoyed those videos. Oh, are you talking about the How'd You Loop videos? Yes. So, I'd say two people for the next parts of the episode. If you think I should interview some people, if there's anyone you think I want to know their stuff, I want to know how they do it. My How'd You Loop series is all about the minds of loop artists. We go into the minds of loop artists and ask them how they loop, why they loop, what they're using, and how they use it. So if you think of anyone, obviously there's a couple of people who are A-list celebrities. I'd love to get them on, but we shall see. Maybe How'd You Loop will migrate over the next couple of weeks, months, years, and we can get more people on. That'll be quite good. The first button you mispressed. Yeah, I did. So let me go back over to here. If I was to basically double tap that, it's gone. It erases it. So that's it. And then just a quick double tap and it's gone. So I've set that up. You don't have to have that it's not like that by default. But then that becomes a mistake problem that I need to be aware of. Just so you're aware. So that's the reason why that happened. Right. So let's have a quick look. So Angus, good morning from Canada. Your feet and RC600 look funny today. Yes, they do. Yes, my feet have grown. Yeah, this is I said this is Tuesday Tunes with JP. This is Tuesday Tunes number 505 Mark II. So boss have very, very kindly sent a 505 to me. I've basically said I want to know the differences. I want to show off the differences between the 600 and the 505. A lot of people who subscribe to the channel is subscribed because they are floor pedal loop artists. And I wanted to go, well, what about the tabletop people? And yes, that's the Hulk. Covering his face right now. It's just juice. So yeah, so I just I thought, well, I've never ever had a tabletop looper, so I thought, well, why not? Let's just have a look and see what we can do. So yes, it's all fun and games. If we are currently live streaming to 5 different places right now using restream.io. And we're on YouTube, of course, Facebook, my own page. We're also on Twitch. Hello, Twitch people. And we're on LinkedIn, and we're even on what is soon to be Musk Twitter. So we're on Twitter as well. So yeah, so it's all fun. Let's have a quick look. I'm sure Ed Sheeran would be up for it. Well, I've asked. And I actually have. Very difficult to get hold of someone who's currently on tour, but also at the same time, just very difficult to get hold of someone unless I'm someone myself. So if anyone knows Ed Sheeran's manager, let them know. I'm interested in doing an interview, a geeky loop style interview, because we all know that stage, if you don't know, that's not a looper. Did you know that? Did you know Ed Sheeran's looper is not a looper? I'll leave you with that. I know that. So there we go. Looking at the parameter guide for the Mark II, it looks like long press isn't a thing. It understands. No, it's not. Long press is not a thing because there's a dedicated undo redo. So then what can happen is, let me just put this back. There we go. This camera's being a bit slow. So basically what you do is when you press undo, which is here, then that's undo, and then the stop button becomes undo, and then the play and record button becomes redo. But if you double tap the stop button, you delete the last undo. So it's a little bit like a peel system. Like, obviously you can delete the last undo, so you can delete it and get rid of it and say, well, it's never going to come back. And that's clever. I like that. It's a clever idea. It's just muscle memory. It's just something I'm not used to because I have been, and I've always been, almost always been, a floor pedal loop pedal person. I said pedal too many times. So a floor pedal person. So understanding where things are very quickly for undo redo is very interesting. So yeah, so obviously then lots of different things there. So yes, parameter guide is absolutely right, Piers. The undo redo is dedicated to this button, and then when you press it, you can see it goes red. So let me just put something down. yo, hey, yo, hey. Okay, so obviously the yo, hey, I don't want it to be there. So what we do is we press undo, redo. They're now flashing. Do you see the way they're flashing? So undo is there, gone. Redo. That kind of makes sense. Take it out, bring it back. But if I take it out and take it out again, and then press this, it's not coming back. It's not there. So that kind of makes sense. Because especially it's a tabletop looper. You've got literally all your digits, however many digits you've got. But most people have 10. Not everyone does. But basically, you can very quickly, of course, two-handed. See the thing, you're playing guitar and everything, you're doing like this, sort of like, like one finger texting. No, you can actually use both hands if I've just got my mic on a mic stand and I can just do all kind of stuff really quickly with my hands. And that leads me on to the next part of this, which is kind of like using it with an instrument. So the fundamental part to get down, of course, is your first loop. So doing your first loop, then you've got to obviously, if you're playing an instrument, if you're not going then as your first loop, then you're strumming something or you're playing something down, then you've got to obviously that. And then of course with the controller, what I would do is, and this is just me, not everyone would do this, but I would actually then plug in things like an FS6 or FS7 pedal and assign that first loop. So then that is literally record and stop, or maybe record play, something like that, record overdub. So then you can get your first loop down as you normally would like that, but then you've got the rest of the tabletop to play with. And the other thing as well, and I know this is so obvious, and I've just said it earlier on at the beginning of the stream, we've got faders. So what you can do is literally, let me just do the old down a memory, up a memory trick to erase everything, because you can still do that. Let's just pull that down and go boom. Now that's looping right now. There it is. So I can obviously bring that down and bring it up. So I could literally have that going. I could even have that in my headphones, but without audience listening to it while I'm recording something else. So that's really, really clever, of course, because of it's just, you're mixing at that point. You're kind of DJ mixing, and that's kind of the point of this. You're doing your own loops, but you're also mixing your loops. And I think that's another fundamental shift between the 505 Mark II versus a floor pedal looper. So I find that very, very interesting. I don't know if you do, but I do. I find it interesting. I think it's one of those things with being able to sort of like change the way the buttons are and things like that. So the thing is, first of all, that I've always turned around and said the 600. Oops, sorry, I'll go back there. I've always said that the 600, that you've got 9 buttons, you've got 3. It's 27 buttons per mode, per memory. Sorry, 20 buttons per memory over 3 modes. So you can change all of that. You can literally say, well, I don't want that button to be play, pause, play, record. I want it to be effect number 3. You can change it for whatever you want. This is where the restrictions come in with the 505. So the 505, you can't change, as far as I'm aware. And again, I need someone to clarify this, but you can't change the play, pause, stop. You can change them to sort of like equivalent, and then there's a dedicated stop. So if you go into the menu, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, I might have to move the camera, but if I go into loop, no, I'm going to need to go the other way. I need to go menu. Yeah, there we go. Control assign, and I'm just going to move this camera so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm actually going to hold this camera, so apologies if it's a bit jittery. Got my jittery hands. So if you go into it, you would normally see there you've got play and undo. Okay, so you got play, panel, play and undo. So you got what do you want to do with the play button, which is these two, yeah, and undo. So if I click that right now, track one is track edit. That makes sense. So it's not play, stop, pause, and we're not talking about this button or this button. We're talking about these two. So you can manipulate and change these, but you can't change these. Now that makes sense because you want these to be sort of play, pause, stop, whatever you want it to do. But if I go out one, let's just go exit, and then let's go to undo. Track 1 is mark set, and that is basically by using track 1 mark set undo on here. So these are completely different than the 600, and some people might like that, because with the preference system, of course, you can put it per system or um, put it per system or put it per memory. You've also got clear as well, obviously on, and you've got all clear as an option as well. So if you're familiar with the 600, there you go. Control functions is the same. Expression functions is the same. Preferences. Oops, sorry. Let me go back one again. USB. You got MIDI there. You've got your assigns. We've got 16 assigns and what you want them to do. So let's just assign something. So we go to assign 1, track 1, record dub. You've got there, or you've got play stop, and that's it. You haven't got all the other options. Sorry, there we go. You haven't got all the other options there like you normally have on a 600. You got record or overdub, track 5, then play and stop, track 1 to 5. Then we've got effects, track, effects, undo, effect, track, undo, input effect knob. So the input effect knob is this, and then you've got the track effect knob. So you can change them as well. You've got controls, you've got MIDI. Let's scroll through the MIDI, and that's it. That's all you've got. So you do have less command controls on this than you do on a 600. And that's very interesting because there's different ways to loop. I'm just going to put this back where it was. There we go. So it's really interesting because there's different ways to loop. What if you wanted to just there's no hold down option on these? Not really. Oops, I've just recorded myself. Let me just get rid of that. There's no hold down option on this, and there's a hold down option on the stop button. There's no hold down option on the play, record, overdub buttons. So it's a different way of looping. So you wouldn't actually do. You've got an undo, redo, and then that kicks in. So yeah, it's just different, and it's one of those things where then that will really make you decide which way you want to start looping, whether you want to use it where you've got a floor pedal where you've got a one button looper, and you've kind of got a one button looper on this. You can single mode and multi mode as well, by the way. So you can do a mode option. So you could have your beats on sort of like track 1. This could be verse, chorus, bridge, breakdown, whatever you want to be. So you could do it that way. But the other thing as well is the way that beatboxers use the control, the track effects, and the input effect knobs, as well as all different edits, and you can get to things faster. So I'm just going to put down something with a little bit of reverb. Oh, 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 Okay, so I've just put this little harmony, lovely. Oh, aren't they lovely? Of lovely little thing down. So maybe that can be our background noise while we're talking. But what I can do is I can change obviously stuff with the track effects and use the track effects knob to change stuff really quite a lot. Obviously, I'm going to the extremes there, but let's just go into, and this is how quick it can be. I can go into edit that one, and that's it. I'm already in beat scatter, which is there. So go hold that down, hold edit down, and press A, and I can just tap it, and then that changes. The other thing as well is that you can actually do edit and hold that down for 2 seconds, and look, that's now gone blue. And what that means is the bank. So that's bank A. So if I go to bank B and then tap this, this is a completely different bank that I'm on. You can't see it there, but it says a B stroke A. So I'm going to go back to. I'm going to go back over. I think you can double tap. Yeah, you can. If you double tap the edit button, instead of to hold, it says what bank. So I'm going to go back to bank A. So bank A right now, I've got on track A. This is the beat scatter, and of course, this is quite a long. I know, I've just ruined a lovely choir. Now, I just put a beat down, and of course, this has affected it. So straight away, I can go across one and say, don't affect this, just affect track one. He says. There we go. Now, I've turned everything off. What have you noticed? I've recorded the track effect. Do you hear that? So it's actually recorded the track in, and you can do that with an RC505 really quickly. And there's something that's obviously really, really different. And this is what I really, really like about this, because I can create something that's almost inhuman. Now, of course, I can get rid of that and record it. Boom, boom, we go. Now, I couldn't create that with my own human voice. I did, but like obviously with the track effect, this being able to obviously change it is something that's really to the 505. Now, you can do a sort of version of this with the 600, but you'd be pedal bouncing forever trying to create something like that and just turning off and on, unless you've pre-programmed it so the track effect is right next door, so you can do it really quickly and on, off, off, on. And yeah, because you've got two hands, this is obviously really, really simple to do. And I've just turned around and said, do not. So now I've got track effects on the beat, and I'm going to put track effects on again. There you go, brother, breakdown. So there's loads, and it's really, really clever. So you can actually obviously record the track effects in. Now, before anyone starts saying it over here, you can record the track effects in on a 600. You can do that. But like I said, you're going to need either an external pedal or reconfigure the pedals so you can do that really quickly. This has got the availability for you to basically mix your own voice a lot quicker, or alter your own voice a lot quicker, I'd probably say. So it's a really, really clever system. And obviously, this is what the fundamental differences are. Not just that, but there's one of the fundamental differences of things like the 500 and the 600. Obviously, the 505 Mark 1 can do some of this as well. So yeah, so this is Tuesday Tunes with JP, and this is a different kind of episode today. So this is about basically the 505 Mark 2, the Boss 505 Mark 2 loop station, which is a tabletop looper, which I've never, ever had or even played with a tabletop looper before. I'm not joking. I've never played with the 202, the 505 Mark 1. The only kind of tabletop-ish loopers I've played with are the iOS ones, the iPad ones. And even then, it's not a dedicated looper in the sense of, obviously, it's an iPad. It can do extra things as well. This is a hardware looper, which is a tabletop looper. So it's probably fair to say I've never played with a dedicated hardware tabletop looper. So I just obviously got hold of one, which Boss very graciously sent to me. And thank you so much for that. And I just wanted to go through this journey with you, as opposed to just sitting in the room on my own. But also at the same time, just to show you the differences. Because if maybe you've gone, do I get a 600 or do I get a 505 Mark II? Which one do I go for? They've got the same brain. They must be the same. Well, actually, no, they are. There are differences, and there are very different differences, if that makes sense. I am probably next time as well. Well, this journey's only just begun, and I'm not gonna obviously just put this on the shelf and forget about it. I'm going to be playing with both. I'm gonna be playing with this. I'm gonna use my FS7 pedal and plug it in and do a guitar performance with this and see how easy or hard it's going to be. It depends obviously on the playing style. You may notice, you may just be able to see on the screen here, it's the same screen. It's the same kind of screen. So I've got, if I just press play again on all of them, again, I've got to figure out where the all start stop is. I'm used to having all start stop over here. So you can see there, I've actually, let me just turn all them down. There we go. So you can see there, I've actually, you might be able to see there, I've got the circles going around. If I just go across one, you can see track 3. You can see there just as memory 1. You can see the volumes. You can see which effects you've got, track effects and beat effects. So same brain, same initial brain, but the way it's utilized and the way it's executed is in a really different way. Right then, let's go over to the chat, see what's going on, because there's been quite a lot of people talking, having a good old chinwag about this. And let's have a quick look. Right, I'm going to bring a couple of things over. Let's have a quick look. Now, at some point, David was talking about the oxygen. So the oxygen makes the drums on the RC600 sound. What did you say? There we go. The oxygen makes the drums on the RC600 sound, but I haven't figured out how to record it yet. It'd be pretty sweet if possible. Nice. Yes, it would be. It'd be good. USB-C is frustratingly complicated too, mind. It is. I get it, Piers. It is, but also at the same time, it's like it's both ends. You know, it's the same at both ends. And if everyone just basically used the same, remember back in 2000 and like what 10, when everyone just had USB and that was it. Then someone had a brilliant idea to bring in USB-B and then micro USB and then all the other ones that came with it, nano, micro. Wouldn't it be great if just USB-C was like the norm, and USB-C for everything, and that included MIDI? Wouldn't that be fantastic and so much simpler? And then you just plug one thing into another and it goes, oh yeah, look, USB. Let's just give it power and MIDI at the same time. That'd be really handy. Let's have a look. So, David, I use 2 power banks. Oh, hang on. I'm just going to bring this up. I use 2 power banks, one powering the Nano Control and the other the 600. It works. I just want a more excellent solution, hence the Oxygen Mini Pro idea. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. Nice. That's quite interesting, using a power bank for the RC600. There are a couple of power banks out there now in the world, and there's some lovely connectors you can get if you want to go completely portable. So there we go. And we're talking about there. So the 505 is a proper control surface, not as robust as 600, but obviously it's not to stomp. We talked about that as well. Creativity on the side, mind-boggling. Let's have a quick look. There we go. So we're getting obviously to where we were talking about here. Piers said, can't wait for Loopy Pro to get per track undo, redo, or peel or unpeel. If you have a look at Loopy Pro, just to talk about Loopy Pro at the moment, I did obviously a tutorial on that, and I've spoken to the guy who makes Loopy Pro. I've been to him a long while, and very happy that my tutorial is on his like webpage. But they've got a roadmap. So if you have a look at the loopypro.com, there is a roadmap, and it's literally all the things that people have suggested. So if there's something that you really, really want, then what he does, he kind of has a tally system. So as people like more of it, then that goes to the top, which is quite cool. And it is one guy who's made Loopy Pro. He's changed the industry. One man, and his looping pro thing has changed the way people think about it. And of course, a massive vetting from DubFX, who said he's never going back to a hardware looper. Fair enough. Loves the iOS platform, loves the idea of that. Obviously, it's more cables, it's more connectivity, obviously with an audio interface, but that can also have advantages as well, because you can plug in as much things as you want. So it's down to what you want. Have a listen to my podcast, episode 6, which I just brought out yesterday, about choosing a looper and what you want out of a looper. It's only about 25 minutes long. So if you're doing a little walk, maybe you want to have me walk with you in your ears. So there we go. Let's have a look. Where are we? There. Angus, despite basically same as RC600, people doing videos on the Mark II seem to have much more fun, having so much fun. Sorry. If I had extra dollars, it makes me want to get one. Yeah, you know what? I've been mixing with it a lot more. I've been in. How can I put this? I'm thinking. The RC600. I put my loops. I said this earlier on, but I put my loops down. and then turn them on, turn them off again, and that's it. Like, really, I mean, yeah, I'm playing with the bass. I've not really got into the track effect side of things. With this, it's kind of like more integrated because the buttons are right there, right? So let me just bring this back over. Um, you don't have to go like mode 3 to get to this. You just reach over for it. It's like there's your input effects, there's your track effects, and you got these input and track effect knobs, which again a bit more fun. So you can you can have a little bit more creative fun with it. You can talk like this. So I may only need one effect for a reverb and just dial in the amount of reverb I want. So with the TC Helicon Voice Life Play Acoustic, I've got, I think, one reverb that's like a church reverb to make it sound like monks, and I've got another one with a little bit more reverb with the harmony on. So all I've got to do is turn out one reverb. Oh, that's nice. I just realized something. Oh, the reverb stays when you turn the effect off. Love it. I knew that anyway, but it's just lovely to hear again. Yeah, it was just like a yeah, so it does affect it afterwards if you're playing with. That makes sense. I'm just discovering stuff. You have to forgive me. So yeah, so it's really nice. And I think, yeah, you're right. I think when people are having a lot of fun with it, it's because they're mixing it. They're mixing it. They're mixing in track effects. They're creating. There's a lot more contact with the looper as opposed to put your loops down and then play over the top and that's it. It's kind of like create a loop, but the loop is a lot more part of the performance. Not that it's not for a 600 or a headrush looper board or an RC500. But it's just there's so more contact with the looper because you're kind of mixing yourself in. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? I hope it does. But yeah, it is really really useful. There we go. It was said earlier on. It's Morbius Looper. Yeah. So for those who don't know, and for those who want to know, or watching on the replay, and are not a complete and total loopy nerd like me and a couple of other people, the the loop pedal that Ed Sheeran uses isn't a pedal, it's a MIDI controller. And that's been kind of clarified over the years. And the actual looper is actually in a rack mount next door to I think it's either on stage or it's next door to the sound tech or the sound engineer. And on his latest tour, the man who shall be known as Ed Sheeran, he's got this wonderful and amazing stage where they've got the plectrums as monitors, as video walls. But he's got this amazing stage where he's basically got the MIDI controller on either side of the stage, and he can run to one side to the other, and it's exactly the same. It's two controllers doing exactly the same thing, feeding into the same looper, and that's really clever. So whether you like him or hate him, you've got to, or you don't mind him, you've got to take your hat off to the fact that he has got a band now and he has got obviously different band members and stuff. But you've got to take your hat off that he's the only man who was a solo artist who completely sold out Wembley Stadium. And it was like 4 nights on the row, and it was just him and a loop pedal, and he had a couple of special guests, but that was it. His new tour now, obviously, he's got a lot more going on, but you've got to take my hat, hat off to him. If people don't know what looping is, looping's come to the forefront with Ed Sheeran's help. So it's really clever. It's really really clever. So he's got it's got loads of different stuff on there, so it's all fun and games. Any idea how to connect Nano Control 2 to the 505 Mark II? No, because this came yesterday, so I haven't got a clue. I'm really, really tempted to actually just get like I think they're about 50 quid, but buy like a control, like a Korg Nano control or something like that, just to see if I can do it. I was thinking about doing that with the 600, so I've got something like up my hands and control my hands. However, the alternative you can do with the 600, as well as you can do with this, is you could just output 6 jacks into a mixer, a normal audio mixer, and then that way you can control the audio out the volume, as long as the volume's okay going in, you could control the volume out, and you could have your normal audio mixer. Everyone's doing, let's put a MIDI mixer on and everything else. Just if you've already got a mixer going into a PA, you've got everything you need. You just have 6 different jacks. Everything goes out mono. There's your 6 loops. With this, it's 5. And put it into like a small mini mixer. So what do? Do you spend 50 quid on a nano control, or do you spend 50 quid on Behringer 802 USB or something, and plug everything into that, and you can control it there? Just go straight out to your PA. So what you're hearing on that is exactly the same. So you could do it that way, and I don't think I've actually seen anyone do that yet. Maybe it's because it's more cables. You're going to need a little mini multi-core. I don't know. But yeah, I'd love to know people's thoughts on that. So if you're watching this now, then please let me know. If you're watching on the replay, put it in the chat. Put it in the comments and let me know what you'd prefer to do. Let's have a quick look. Angus, I guess we'd start record at loops, and you could hit record and then assign a play. Yeah, you could do, and then hit record early for the next play. You could. Yeah. That's a good option. I like that. That's cool. Maybe this is mind-boggling flexible software. I'm really hoping to come open source. Yeah. Have you noticed as well with Ed's loopers? If you have a look, like I do, if you have a look on his Instagram, it's got shots of him playing with the looper, and on the looper it now said Sheeran loopers, and it's got an infinite loop sign. Maybe they're going to bring one out. Who knows? But it's actually trademarked, or it's actually marked. So yeah, so it's really bizarre. Let's have a look. Yeah, it has a human mix engineering in the loop, and makes a hell of a difference, as Piers just said there as well. So yes, so there's loads obviously that this thing can do. So there's loads of different parts, things that obviously it can do. So I just want to show off 1 or 2 other things as well, if I may, if you will indulge me. And the other thing as well is that I'm just discovering this live myself, for basically the first 24 hours, as it were. I literally got this yesterday, put down a bit of a track and throw it up there on YouTube, which was the Lordy track. And again, it's just obviously having fun with the mixing. Now, I'm not expecting to go and start mixing all this stuff like this, but you can do. And you can turn things on and off. And one thing that I want to take advantage of, which is what people like the beatboxers from Swiss Beats do, is they program up their track effects. It's like bank A, bank B, bank C, bank D, and they use it. They use that a lot. And it's like, okay, well, bank C is the next drop down. It's still the same loops, but they drop them down. Oh, the 505 view is frozen. Is it okay now? Is it okay now if I wave my hand slowly? Can you see it? And it's back. Good. Fantastic. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, so those effects control styles, I like having a couple of expression pedals nicely set up for you at the box. Yes. You didn't know about the roadmap. The Discord's great too as well. Oh yeah, so let me just go back a little bit. Piers was just saying about obviously the Loopy Pro roadmap. Yeah, there's a roadmap there. So yeah, have a look at that. It's quite good. So yes, so being able to build these up, I haven't yet. I haven't built. I've put the first 4 in. So, and 2 of them were as I wanted them anyway. So this one, obviously, I've got down as like a sort of beat slicer. You've got this one down, which is a flanger. You've got this one, which is transpose, which again, because of the dial, I wouldn't normally use the transpose, but you can mess around with that and just have a bit of fun with it. And then you've got the GNR granular delay. So if the thing as well is if you hold this down and just tap it, it doesn't turn it on. So you don't have to obviously turn it on, but it's just the fact you can get to it so quickly. And this is what you also see with the beatboxers. You see them go thing, and you see them go, and then they put their stuff down, and then they go and back into stuff. So they're actually using the effects, whether it's input effects or track effects, they're using it so quickly. It's really good. I like it. There's a voice-controlled synth in there as well, isn't there? Oh, is there? Right. Look what you've done, Piers. Right, we're going to play around with this one, and what we're going to do is we're going to change this over. So this could get a little bit loud, so I apologize. I'm going to turn it down just in case it goes nuts. Right, let's have a look. Phaser. Yes, so this one. Oh my God. That's screaming loud, and I apologize to everyone who's just tuned in, and I've just blown all your speakers and your headphones off. I really am sorry about that. That was really loud. 1, 2, yeah, 1, 2, 1. Yeah. So you got the ring mod delay as well. So again, I like the idea of being able to sort of dial this in with the input knob, which I'm not used to, and this is changing the frequency. So I wouldn't do that on a 600 ever. Maybe with an expression pedal, but I'd have to figure it out first. Was I can just very quickly get to this. Sustainer as well. Yes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And being able to like turn things on really, really quickly. That's really, really cool. So there's the synth. And I think I'm gonna have to play around with this synth because I think you've got to, must muck around with. What am I dealing with there? Oh, it's the balance. Okay. So what if I was to change that to frequency? Again, I'd have to assign that. That's quite cool. So yeah, no, that's nice. I like that. That's a clever idea. There's loads obviously in here. They are all the same effects from the 600 and the 505 Mark II. The robot one. Hello, 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 hello. Yeah, there's all kinds. Electric. Oh, the other thing as well is. Oh, let me turn that off while I go around them. The other thing as well is there's loads of people who use like the OSC bot, or people call it OSC bot. Now I can sing different notes, but it's going to sing the same note. But there's also, this is where you can really take advantage of a step sequencer inside here. So there's a step sequencer inside, and you can do 16 steps. But you can just go. And that's me doing it manually. But what you can do is, if I was to actually turn the step sequencer on, and then I was to say, well, I want 4 steps. So let's just go and very, very quickly change this to 4 random things, which is going to sound nuts, and I apologize. But and all I'm doing is going E. So. Oh, that was me breathing in. Did you hear that? Hang on. So yeah, I literally went. That's all I did. It's cool. It's got like a gritty feel. Oh, I like it. It's cool. Oh, right. So many things you could do. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna become like this next sort of beatboxing champion or anything. I'm probably far too old for that. The other thing as well is there's this, which is dynamics, and this is on the 600, and this is something I'm trying to dial in at the moment. Let me just change this for 1 second. Right, there we go. So I've had a couple of people ask on the 600, and they've asked in the chats and the comments and stuff. I want a compressor. I want a limiter. I want like some kind of effect. I want 2 or 3 effects on the same channel. Okay. What I've basically figured out is that the dynamics effect, your best chance. So there's a couple of things on dynamics, and you've got compressions and you've got limiters on there, and there's ones that have been set up. Now, I actually set up on the 600 a radio effect, and it's like a radio. It does say radio. There's a radio effect there, right? But if you actually have a look at the input effects on here and go to dynamics, this is on dynamics right now, and I'm going to put it 100%. So it is quite whoa. In fact, let's just have it at 0. Natural compression, mixer compression, live compression, natural limiter, hard limiter, jingle compression. What the heck is a jingle? Jingle, like as in what? Making a jingle? I don't know. Hard compressor, soft compressor, clean compressor, dance compressor, orchestra compressor, vocal compressor. Now, vocal compressors are a good one because, of course, if I'm on a different kind of microphone, so of course, if I go in closely, we can make some nice. There's an acoustic compressor, rock band compressor. Oh, orchestra. Hang on, what was that one? An orc compressor. But then there's also an orchestra, just orchestra. Low boost compressor. Boom, 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 boom. Nice. Bright DJ voice compressor. Boom. So there you go. Obviously, I've got that turned down. And then the other one is phone box. And why on earth have I got the radio one when we've got this one? This has actually been set and it's really nice. So. And then let's go over to DJ voice. Oop. There we go. So you'll notice there, I've used only input effect A, and I very quickly just changed dynamics. So I don't actually have to set it as two different effects. I can go in here with my hands and just change it from this one, 1 2 1 2 1 2, to this one, 1 2 1 2 1 2, and then just change it over. That's fun. I'm actually just skipping through everything. Just a little click between the two. But you get the idea, right? So the fact is you can actually just use this to move around a lot quicker. Now, the other thing as well is I'm not saying that the 505 is better than the 600, because I've just seen Australia Ray going, is the 505 better than the 600? I don't know. Is it? How do you loop? Have you got a guitar in your hand? Because then if you have, how are you going to loop on a tabletop? How are you going to mix? You might not want that. I'm being facetious there. I'm sorry. But the fact is, what I mean by that is it depends on how you're. Sorry, I've just realized I had the same dynamic thing on again. I'm going to turn it off. It depends on how you loop. And it depends on what you want to do with your loops. And this is also part of my, thank you, by the way, because this is also my latest podcast episode. So go to John Paul Music UK podcast and you can actually hear about choosing a looper. So do you want to loop with your feet? Well, you can still do that with this. Do you want to loop with your hands? Well, you can actually do that with a 600 with the right adapter because, again, with the right equipment, you can do both. So they are the same in that respect, but so the way you loop, it can be really, really different as well. One thing I want to actually point out before I go back over to the chat, it's bizarre the number of comps and only one reverb type. Yeah, Angus, actually, do you know what? You bring up a good point there. There's reverse reverb, gate reverb, and then reverb. Right, so there's three to be fair, but they're all their own separate ones, as opposed to dynamics has like loads of different dynamics inside, like different types. I'd like to see reverb and a load of different reverbs, like loads of plates and things like that. A little bit like the TC Helicon voice like play acoustic. Not that I'm saying that that's better, because I'm not. I think it has. Well, it's got over 300. Is it 250 or 300 different effects? The other thing as well is, let me just get out of here and go back down to memory number 1, and then this is all reset. Down to memory, open memory, erased. Every looper ever, apart from the circle looper that saves stuff on the fly. You'll also notice from beatboxers, they'll loop really, really short loops, really, really short, like. Let me do that again. Hang on. Look at that. Still had it open. Look how quick that is. It's literally 16ths of that. I've just deleted that. See, I'm still learning. But the fact is that if you look at some of the people who do like beatboxing and looping that way, they'll go boom, ticka 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 boom. I need two of them, but there we go. Boom, ticka 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 boom. And that's it. We've got our beats. Really quick, real quick loops. Because you're doing it with your finger and it's just like boom, boom, boom. It's real quick. I don't know whether the engine, I think the engine is the same in the 600. You can go that quick, but like, I don't think I can tap that quickly with like as quickly as my finger doing that than I can with my foot. So obviously that sounds not very nice, but get the idea, right? The fact is that you can change obviously different things, and you'll see a couple of the ones certainly if they're doing like house-based music and like dance-based music, like sort of if you're doing all different kinds of electronic equivalent music, then you'll notice that they put the beats down real quick, and that's something that obviously is quite unique with this, that you can do that. And if you pull something in, if you're separating all the beats out, so if I do like a boots and cats here and I do the hi-hat here, I could bring that hi-hat down in the mix very, very quickly, because it kind of doesn't matter. So go boom, 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 boom. That's a very basic beat, but now don't forget as well, with the RC600 and the 505 Mark II, you've got bounce, and you can bounce that. I could bounce that down to one track once I've got it the way I want it. So again, that's just another thing you can do. And I just got to stop double tapping. I've just erased the I set this up to double tap, so I thought that'd be cool instead of hold it clear. The amount of times I've done that by mistake, I might have to turn that back off and put it back the way it was. Anyway, so yeah, so there's loads of different things there. It's really, really cool. Australia, hey, I love your channel, GP. Thank you very much. If you do like this channel, then give this live stream a thumb up. There's also a brand new button that I kind of don't want to self-promote really, but there's a brand new button on YouTube specifically, which is a heart with a $ in. Now, if you really love this channel, I used to do a thing which, and it's still there if you want to, which is called buymeacoffee.com. You can do buymeacoffee.com/John Paul Music. Okay. However, and that's like a tipping thing. However, now there is a thanks, which is called super thanks. So if you want to give me a super thanks to help me and help this channel keep going, then thank you very much. You don't have to, of course, but it's just obviously optional. It's there if you want to, if you want to support the channel. Also, if you want to support the channel in a different way, you could buy one of these. This is my How Do You Loop t-shirt. I designed it myself, I did. And that should be on the merch shelf underneath, again, on YouTube. Or if you just go to teespring.com/John Paul Music UK, you can find it there. It's also available in a hoodie. So there we go. So yes, let's have a look at this. Me just plugs Timeless 3 and a couple of different reverbs into the buses in Loopy Pro. You were saying? Okay. So of course, this is the other thing with Loopy Pro. With any iOS looper, of course, what you have got now is this amazing ability of AUV3 plugins. So AUV3 plugins has unleashed loopers, really. When I was looping, I was doing like shows with Loopy HD, and then you were like, okay, cool, I need to plug like hardware stuff into Loopy HD to bring it back out again. Now you can just use AUV3 plugins, and it's just so much easier. Gone are the days where you basically are having to hardwire your effects in. You could use the processor, because actually the processors on like iPads and phones are amazing. They don't even scratch the surface, and they are very, very good. So there we go. Oh, put that down properly. I started looping with my Zoom G5, and it's only a one-track looper. Cool. I want to learn about RC rhythm converter. Don't we all? Yes, the RC rhythm converter. Now, I will talk about this for a second. I have used it. I have played with it. I am going to make a video about it. I'm also going to make an instructional step-by-step guide video about it. It might be the same video. I haven't really decided yet, because I think it's more about how you to have your rhythm. Now, of course, with the rhythm section, I haven't even gone into the rhythm section on the 505 yet. It is the same as the 600. It's the same rhythm section. It is. But I am going to be making an RC rhythm converter video. Um, I've been holding off mainly because I've got that much to say. I haven't had time to do it. But I'm going to be making an instructional. This is where everything is video, like I normally do, like what I call an overview. It's basically an instructional video of here's where things are for you to play with, and then I'm also going to show you how you can plug it in as well. So there we go. I just want to let you know that. Gizmotron Graphics Music. That is a brilliant name, by the way. I realized you commented something before, but that's brilliant. That's a really great name. You can use the Mark II to record full-length songs for each track. Then you can sync a sequencer to follow the start, stop, and the tempo. Nice, cool. Super chat. Angus, thank you very much. 5 Canadian dollars. Thank you for sharing your process. It's very helpful. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. I don't have this cool graphic. Some people on channels have these cool graphics when it goes super chat and it comes up. So I just go super chat. Maybe I should have a loop. You go super chat, super chat, super chat, super chat, super chat. There you go. I'll do that now. So then I can go super chat. Thanks. So yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so you can basically sync a sequencer Mark II. Sorry, I got completely distracted by the super chat. There's also it's a fire Gizmotron. I've got. Do you know what I've got? I've got two things in my head. I've got Gizmo from Gremlins, and then I've got Transformers. So I've got I'm literally the 80s. I've got the 80s in my head because of Gizmotron. I've just got Gizmo as a Transformer. That would be cool. Anyway, sorry. Ooh, that would be annoying. Super chat. Yes, it would. Oh, that would be so funny. I'm going to save that. I'm going to make something that so it's like I press a button and it does it. That'd be cool. Right, let's have a quick look. Dun, 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 dun. There's also a cable for iPhone and iPad. There is all Australia Ray, what are you talking about? There is also a cable for the iPhone or iPad that works well. Works well with what? What, plugging in? As in plugging into an audio interface, plugging into this. The one cable that most people use is for the iPhone because it's still. I'm using the iPhone here now as my camera, by the way. That's what I'm doing today. The iPhone, there is a Lightning to USB Type 3 connector. I really hope they make a USB Type C one, or maybe the next iPhone will just be USB Type C. That'd be amazing. And that's what most people connect into because it's got USB, like the other end of USB, and you plug into that. For the iPad, which are USB Type C, of course, you can just go straight into USB Type C. However, if you need to power it as well, you can get like adapters. There's loads of different adapters. I've got a couple of them. One I've got is one which is this one, which is the Hyperdrive. I've been using this for almost 3 years now, and it's just fab. I love that. That's really, really good. So into 600. Wow, the RC600 and the RC505 have neat tricks up their sleeve. Sorry, I'm bad digestion from orange juice. They have a neat trick up their sleeve, which is the USB. The USB, of course, this is a 32-bit. By the way, this camera is a bit slow again, isn't it? I'm sorry about that. Let's go back to the other one, shall we? Oh no, it just caught up. Oh, no, never mind. What you can do is you can actually with the USB both on the 600 and the 505 Mark II, it's 32-bit floating. So the sound quality's fab, apart from obviously what you're hearing of my ears coming out of it. But you can actually just plug this straight into your computer. Now, I've not done that today. I've just plugged it into my audio interface, which is sitting over there. But you can plug it in and out of the box on both the 600 and the 505. They're in generic mode. So if you go into menu, where are we? Let me just figure this out. I can't. There we go. Go across one. Or what I found out with the 505, you go menu and menu again, and I think you can do this 600. It just skips to the next part of the menu. Go USB, and you'll see mode, and it's generic. You probably can't see that there. I've just realized. But anyway, it's generic mode. Generic mode is literally 2 in, 2 out. So left and right in, left and right out. However, if you go to vendor mode, which is on both the 600 and the 505 Mark II, you have to turn the looper off and back on again. It then puts it into an 8-in, 8-out USB audio interface at 32-bit floating. Now, why on earth do you need 8-in and 8-out? Well, it's on the 600, it's 6 tracks, and then you've got your rhythms as well. On the 505, I can't remember why. You can use all that. So you can use it as a USB hub if you want to. You can use it as a USB audio interface. So you don't need to plug this into an interface like I've done today. I've just done that for quickness. I've not set this up correctly in the way I want it to because the USB sound needs to be the same and blah, 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 blah. But yes, these two loopers, the 600 and the 505, have those great tricks up their sleeve about basically being an 8-in, 8-out USB audio interface. And that's just fab, isn't it? I mean, like, if your audio interface is like an old one, like a USB-B one, or a second generation Focusrite, or you've got like an older Behringer or something like that, and you buy something like this, whether it's the tabletop or the floor paddle, you've now upgraded your audio interface as well. So that's just great. That's just fantastic. Right then, I'm getting well behind on the chat because it's going really, really quick for me because I ramble on like an idiot. Here's a trick. It says Gizmotron graphics music. The first track in the looper sets the tempo. Then you set all the rest up on the same tempo. There you go. So yes, absolutely. If you put something down on the first track, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now it says 1, 2, 3. Now it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. There we go. So if I just do that now, now it says 123.5 BPM. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ironically, it's gone slower. It's 97.1. I forgot this in overdub mode. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, there we go. So now it's at 99.2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there we go. So yes, obviously that sets the first BPM, and then you can obviously then set up the rest of them as the same tempo. But these are obviously can be in sync anyway. Now what I've done as well is I've also set this up so if you go into the menu system, you put quantize on, and I've actually got quantize set up, so quantize is there ready to go, so it's quite useful. Piers, there's a USB-C to lightning cable, but I don't know that would happen if you plugged that into USB-C hub. That's a good question. That's a good question that needs answering. Yeah, I use the Apple official sort of like USB 3 one for the actual camera. Oops, sorry, focus for the camera for the iPhone. If I need to plug it in, if I'm using AUV3 plugins or anything like that, I just use the official cable. And it does say camera adapter, but you can use it as I've plugged a piano into it. I've plugged a microphone into it. It's very useful that way. So there we go. So Angus, I have the RC600 into a hub into M1 with Ableton output through the 600 using the 600 as an audio interface. There you go. Proof in the pudding, and Angus is doing it. So you can actually plug it in. I'm using an M1 as well. I'm using the M1 Pro, and it works flawlessly. You can do that no problem. I plugged the 600 into this little computer. You can just see at the back of the screen here all the time, and it works absolutely fine. It's no problem at all there. You do need to install a driver though, even on a Mac. So there's a little driver you need to get from Boss's website and download that. And then once that's done, it comes up in system preferences as like audio out. It comes up like that as mine anyway. And then you can start using it. I've plugged straight in using a drum track from Easy Drummer 2. Have you really? Oh, that's good. So then that falls into a question. Have you done that with you've done that with the 600 of you, or a 505, and then have you plugged in to your computer, and then is it MIDI synced, or are you timing it yourself? I'm just curious. That tempo demo was cool. Oh, thanks. Cheers. You're welcome. So yeah, so it just basically it does, as long as you got the first one. By the way, I always say first one that says 1. I could do it here. This could be the first loop. So it doesn't matter which one you do first. I just have an empty memory, completely empty. You can save a tempo. You can see the tempo is flashing away there. So if I was to do that, that is our lovely ting, ping, ping, ping guide track. But if obviously we went 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see on the screen there, it's come up 147.5. I can use one of the dials. It doesn't matter which dial I use, by the way. Little pro tip for you. You can use any dial when it's in tempo mode to actually move the tempo. And if you hold these down, you can get through them even quicker. Goes at a step of 10 beats per minute, as opposed to scroll through. So if you want to go, oh, I've completely messed it up, it's meant to be half that, you can scroll it all the way down. There's 57. Why would I don't do many stuff at 57. Let's do 125. There we go. Let's go into edit. And again, edit button above the it's just here. Edit button above the start stop rhythm. So I'm straight into the guide. I don't have to go through the menus. I'm straight in. Because there's more buttons, because you can do more things straight away with it. So I'm not saying it's better, but you know, it's good. So let's go to my favorite. There he is. Oh yeah. I love the cajon. Let's go into enter, go across. Let's have a look. Where's our rhythm out? Our rhythm out's set at 100, so let's bring that back down. There we go. And that's the only other thing as well, of course. We've got faders for the loops. We haven't got a fader for the rhythm. So you have to be aware of that. Obviously, if you've got that at 100 and you play that through a PA, you blow everyone's ears off. So yeah, so you have to be careful with that. So we go. Pierce, what are you saying? Love to retire the CCK on my iPhone. Yeah, I think if I can, if they just do USB Type C, I think I'd be very very happy. Just because let's face it, it's the last one really of the majors to sort of go to USB Type C, isn't it? Lightning's been around for quite a while now. Although it's digital, and although obviously that's a good thing, I would like to do that. So we go. If you can save the tempo, then this is an important over the old 505. I hope so. Tempo has been a MIDI nightmare for those using a sequencer. Yes, you can. So let me show you that right now. So I've got this as 125 beats per minute. Okay, on memory number 1. There's no loop on it. I've not set any loops up or anything. I've saved a couple of effects. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click exit and enter together. Click right, and then on memory number 1, yes. Enter. That's now executing. So I'm going to go to a different memory. Memory number 2. This is now at 120. I'm going to be really pedantic, and I'm going to move that all the way down to 96. There it is. Okay. And if you remember, I actually had the cajon on there. So I'm going to move down a memory. Here we go. Oh yeah, I didn't save it as start. I didn't save it like that. By the way, yeah, so just a quick one. If you save it like this, where the tap tempo is, and this is both on the 600 as well. If you save it on tap tempo, but this is off, it won't play when you go down a memory or up a memory. If you have it like this, and they're both flashing, and then I save it, then when you come back to it, it's ready to roll. And if you go basically over to, it'll start playing. So let's just use this one. Let's go down to, again, like 93. There we go. So let's just play that right now. There we go. So that's playing. I'm on memory number 2 at 93 beat per minute. Let's go down to memory number 1, 2, 3, and 125 with the cajon. Already done. Saved. No problem. Playing already. So now I've got to do is I've got to resave it without that on there, because I'll go down and go back up again, and I'll put a beat down and it'll be 125, and it will come in, kick in. So if I turn that off, click right and execute that, that is now saved, but that won't come on. It is saved at 125, but I can override that just by going boom ticka 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 boom. That's now 83.5 straight away. So the first loop can dictate that, or you can dictate that with the rhythm start, stop, armed, and ready to go. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, that's a game changer. You can do that for 99 memories. 99 memories, but a loop ain't one. And yes, you can save everything per memory. You can save everything per system. It's up to you. A lot of people now are doing things per memory because they want different effects. They want different things. They want different beats. They want different all kinds on different memories because they're using it for different songs. So I hope that makes sense. So there we go. That's very nice for live play. They've done way more stuff with the MK2. They have, and also I know as well. I have obviously sort of like touched an MK1. I've never actually played with one, but these are way longer. You know, these are much longer. I just like doing that. I'm such a child. But even if I was to just you know, plug in a keyboard, plug in my guitar, start playing. I would personally, and this is because obviously I'm sort of I don't want to be derogatory to anyone, but I'm an instrument looper. So as opposed to just I don't see just a beatboxer. I'm nowhere near like the skills and mastery that people like Sorrow and MK14 and you know all and Frosty and all that lot and Rhythmind. Rhythmind is amazing. Won the last championship. I'm nowhere where they are, you know, in the sense of using one of these. I'm a rhythm, like guitar playing loop pedal person, and therefore I would still need a pedal on the floor, even if I was using this, unless I went and there's my loop, and then I can obviously then arm something so I can play. Because if I hit this now and go, I can't quickly play unless I've got, you know, current track or something. I use one of these. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. Yeah, if I only use one of these control knobs to go current track, so now it's on track 2, and if I hit the button, like the pedal or something, it arms it automatically. So I'd need something with it to do that, unless I'm just going to be beatboxing or just using the microphone, or you know, I'm playing like keyboards with one hand and I go boom at the same time. But playing a guitar or something with 2 hands, saxophone, whatever you're playing. I don't play saxophone, but it would be very difficult in that respect. However, once you've got going and your loops are all there and everything, then you know if you've got a loop coming in, you could set the loop to come in obviously on the beat of the next one. So you could pre-arm it in that respect, and then you have got more control. I'm going to admit that right now, you've got more control over the loop itself, both the input effects, the track effects, and the volume of the loops than you have initially on the 600. But the 600 is all floor based. You don't have to touch it with your hands. You can rearrange all the buttons wherever you want. So that is a huge difference. And it's also a huge shift. I wouldn't say one's better than the other, because you could program it in such a way where one button's track 1, the next button is an effect, the next button is going over to a different verse. You can really program it how you want. There's more stuff at home, of course, to sort out that way before you go into a gig. But same with this, you know, as I say, you look at the beats, they don't just rock up with an empty 505 Mark II. They program up all stuff from home. They program up all the track effects and their input effects in the order that they want them to then obviously lay down their really cool beats. So there we go. So let's have a quick look. You can't tell they've really been listening to the community of users with this board. Yeah, I think so. I think there's obviously people want to be able to get to stuff real quick. I love this. I love the fact that basically these 2 buttons above the sort of start stop, the effects, so you're not affecting the track effects. You can turn that off and say, well, that's never going to be affected by track, or you can do it the other way around. So all of these 4 oh, sorry, the camera's just being weird today. All these 4 are off, but that one's on. So if I go boom, boom, so I've now got this loop, which instantly sounds cooler than my normal loops. I don't know, I quite like it. So if I now go track effects, obviously I've not set this or anything, but then if I was to record anything else down, that would not be affecting this. That would not be affecting these. It would just affect this one. If I turn that off, it's like these are off, but they're not. They're still on. So you can tell it which loop to affect really quickly. I'm going to have to turn this double tap off, because I just did that just to stop it, and I'm just so used to double tapping when I'm on single loops. So I turn this off, I turn it on, saying, oh, that quick double taps are going to be a good idea. For me, maybe not. But I love the idea of, and this is what I with the with the TC Helicon Voice Play acoustic, I'd use effects to bring into the loops. So as opposed to going, what I would do is I'd use. So that is just a lot easier. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot easier. So there we go. Right, let's have a quick look. What are we doing? Should arm early if set up? Yes, it will do. Hopefully, the faders are linear encoders rather than pots. More flicks available for those. Has the 505 got foot switch inputs? Training rate? Yes, it has. It's got control expression input, so 1, 2, 3, 4, just like the 600 has. So you could plug in two RC7s if you want, or RC6s if you want. FS 5, 6, and 7. So you can plug them in, and you've got MIDI as well. So don't forget, you can always get your MIDI controller. So I've got the Morningstar MC8. Again, I've got 8 buttons there, and I've got Banks. I've actually got 16 buttons. So I could program that all up for the 505, and then that's it. I can have that on MIDI and MIDI control that all in. So yes, you've got control on that. So you haven't got it by default, but of course you can plug things in and obviously get adapters and stuff. I love the ARM early feature. That's cool. Good. Yes, so there are 2 sockets. There we go. Cool. Do it now, or are you going to keep forgetting? What have I forgotten? Uh-oh. I've forgotten something that Piers has asked. I'm sorry. What have I forgotten? Can't unhear the Are You Being Served theme tune with that click track. Oh. Is that what you're talking about? What have I forgotten, Piers? Double tap erase. Do it now. Okay. What have I forgotten? Your guitar. Yes, I have. I forgot the guitar. It's not. It's over there. Look, it's over there in the background. That's the electric. There's a smart guitar. Ugh. And there they are, crying in the back. Yes. No. I will. I'm going to do it after this. I'll turn it off. Where is it? I can't even remember where it is. I think it's in the control function assigns. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it now. Control signs, preference. It's not the quick clear, is it? It's not the. That's not it, is it? Boom, 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 boom. Yes, it is. Right, quick clears off. Quick clears off, everyone. Hooray! JP remembered. It's still there. It's still there. Right. Okay. Yeah. So quick clear that's what it's called. Quick clear. So now double tap, nothing. Let's turn these effects. There we go. So I've done that now. If you hold it down though, then it's gone. There we go. Yes. So I've done that now. I don't know why I keep doing that, but I don't do it with my feet. I only do one tap with my feet. I will delete another loop on this live stream right now. I'm telling you now. I'm going to do it anyway. Just because it's going to happen. But there we go. So let's have a quick look. I've forgotten my guitar. Yes, the 505 is cheaper in Australia. It's 700 for the 505 and 900 for the 600. Yeah, be careful of that. It might be the Mark 1 you're looking at. This is the Mark 2. Just remember that. We will laugh if you did that. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Angus said it. Are you sure it's not the Mark 1 you're looking at? Urine will be extracted. Yes. Pee myself. So we go. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try and do one of. Should I try? Yeah, I'm going to try and do one of my songs, just to see if I can do this on here live, unrehearsed. Let's see if we can do this. It's a bit slow. Right. See, I'm now double tapping to erase something really quickly and I can't do it. Right, okay. Hang on a minute. 1, 2, 1. Yeah, it's a bit slow for me. I do it normally a little bit quicker. Old hill, so many worries, but I'll talk to you. I'll sit down and hear your troubles for a century or two. An old man sat in the corner, staring at his drink. His coffee is cold and half empty, and he starts to think, where have I gone in my life? 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 Where have I gone? Yeah. So there we go. It's just, I'm not going to do the whole thing. I just wanted to have a test. Nice. Yeah, I do like that reverb. It's cool. So there we go. That was Old Hill played on the RC 505 Mark II for the very first time ever. It was a bit slower than I normally do it, but there we go. I was trying to, I don't want to leave the video to look. That's what split screen's for. Does this thing do tone correction for vocals? Are you saying I'm out of tune? Oh yeah. Yes, it does. You can do a little bit of sort of correction through the harmony system, I believe. So you can technically have the harmony the same, but like it's almost like a hard tune, but not quite. 495 on Tonum for the MK2, 485 for the 600. They've come down in price. Haven't they? I mean, there were a lot more than that on sort of release, as it were. So yeah, that's not bad. Tonum, if you're not sure who Tonum are a fantastic place where I've bought a load of stuff from, and they ship stuff really quickly. So they're very, very good with that as well. It'd be an MK1. A dealer would get in trouble from Roland for selling it less. Okay, you go then. Tonum are pretty good with their prices, but then what you've got to do is you've got to look at the delivery cost, and that might bump it up a little bit. So, guys, this is Tuesday Tunes with JP, but this is Tuesday Tunes with a little bit of a difference. Obviously, with the MK2, the 505 Mark II. And I just want to give a shout out and say thank you for the guys who are actually having this lovely conversation regarding this and the 600. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to use? Are you going to use a 600? Are you just going to go, no, I'm going back to the RC300, forget it? No. Do you know what? Even if you are an RC300 user, I've got some advice for you right now. Get a 600. The reason I'm saying get a 600, even if you program it up to be exactly the same as a 300, you don't use the other three loops, it's 32-bit floating audio. And if you're not sure how important that is, the audio quality is off the chart. It's just fantastic. Then even if you've got 57, is it something like that? 57 effects you can mess around with if you want them. You don't have to have them. But if you're a 300 user and a 600 is available and you're thinking about making the jump, it is a different looper. You might not like the switches opposed to actually the big buttons that you get on the 300, as opposed to like the even bigger buttons you got on like the RC30. But I've got little toppers that go on the top of my 600. I've got a link in that in all the 600 videos. But I've got a lot of people ask me, where'd you get those toppers? There's actually a link in the description of all of them. You may even go over and go, do you know what? I don't need a hardware looper. I'm going to go software looper. So there we go. Piers, Loopy Pro, all the way for me. But the 500 would seriously tempt me if I had the money kicking around. So yeah, it's basically It depends on what you want to do and what you want to bring in, and also how do you loop. And that's what my series is all about. How do you loop? Because there's that many different ways now to loop. It's not just a case of one pedal and everyone's doing it. There's so many different ways of looping now. If you haven't already, all I would suggest is, and it's really weird, I know, for like someone on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, to go and say go and watch someone else. But if just for insight, just to dip your toe in, you might go down a YouTube wormhole like I did. But just to dip your toe into, go and have a look at the Swizz Beats channel, which was sponsored by Roland and Boss, and they released the the RC505 Mark II there, and have a look at what some of the guys are doing there. It might not be your cup of tea of music, but just to showcase what this thing can actually do is unreal. And one of them had two of them tied together. They had 10 loops and like 50 million input effects. Like, they had loads of different things going on and a really, really clever stuff. But as I say, it might not be your kind of music, but even if it's not, you can really appreciate the styling and the way they're using these things now to actually make crowds dance, make like an entire arena like jump up off the floor because just by the power of their voice. And I think that is really, really powerful, and it's really, really cool. One final thing as well is I've been promoting it all the way through this. It's not a promotion. I'm not sponsored by myself. How can I be? That's clever. But I do have a podcast, and the podcast is John Paul Music UK Podcast. Please, if you are into looping, please go and have a look at it. Please download it. Sorry, I've got a itchy nose. And please go and have a look at it, because there's some amazing interviews there. Now, I've got those interviews actually on the YouTube channel, but I've also them in podcast format. So if you just want to have a listen watching it, you can do. Also, there's a couple of episodes I'm going to start putting up on there that are not going to be on YouTube. They're actually just literally just me talking, giving advice, showing you a couple of different things, and it's free. You can go and listen to it. I've still got an itchy nose. It's available on Spotify podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and also my website, which is johnpaulmusic.co.uk, where you can also go and get my pro tips PDF. You can also go and get my RC600 pedal planner PDF. You can book me, you can buy some of my courses. It's all there. But the podcast is free, and it's completely free. Go and have a listen to it if you want to hear more of this voice in your ears. So I'm going to end the live stream there, guys. But thank you so much for obviously tuning in. I'm just going to have a quick read of a couple of different things before we go. So let's have a quick look at that. Piers says Loopy Pro's all the way for me, but the 505 would be seriously tempting. Angus 600 linked to a 505 Mark II with Ableton Live and Loopy Pro output through USB. How many loops do you want, Angus? Seriously? Like, wow. Like, that's like Darth Vader's pal. Like, just, loads. That would be a choir. Like, at that point, I'd be like, well, let's hire a choir. I'm an unaccompanied folk singer. Me too. Beatboxing is really, really not my thing, but dear God, the stuff they can come up with these days is impressive. You're welcome. No worries. So that's all right. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm really, really happy that you've found something out of it. I'm going to be still playing around with the 505, but not in the boom, beatboxy way. I'm going to be doing it from a singer-songwriter's point of view, because that's what I am. But also, I'm going to still be continuing with obviously videos for the 600. Don't worry, they're not going away. And I'm also going to be continuing with the YouTube Shorts as well, because a lot of people have said that they've got real good value out of it, because it's me answering one thing in under 60 seconds. But we're going to carry on with Tuesday Tunes, and we're going to go back to our normal format next week, where I'm going to actually take a couple of the tunes I play live and break them down and show you how I loop them. I'm not telling you that you should loop them that way. I'm just showing you how I loop them. But guys, thank you so much for coming over, and have a look, as I say, at the podcast. That's the kind of thing I'm sort of showcasing today, as well as the 505. And we will see you next Tuesday, all being well. But thank you very much for joining us. Yeah, I'm still here. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat. distrokid.com/VIP/John Paul Music UK. Super chat. Super chat. Super chat.